So this is Bobo's birthday party, and there's old man Bobo turning 18. We got his good friend Teddy. And we got Mookie. And there goes Hades. And Copper. There's Copper right there. There's Copper and Hades. The birthday boy. No, you guys get away. This is the birthday boys. No, Hades. Right there, buddy. Mookie. Right there. Copper. Daddy. Well, that's a bunch of happy dogs. Alright, welcome everyone. How are we all doing today? I want to say thank you for those of you returning for another one of my videos, as well as if you're new to my channel. This is Skelly Bynature. I am Skelly. And today's video is a very special video for me and old man Bobo here, because we're going to be celebrating his 18th birthday today. And so today's video is going to be how I made the birthday cake that I made for him, as Bobo's got some friends coming over, and we're going to be doing a little birthday celebration. So stick around, and I will show you how I do my birthday cake for his 18th birthday. Okay, so we're back into the kitchen, and I'm going to show you guys how I make Bobo's 18th birthday cake. And so this is actually going to be a full meal. So as you can see, I've got a whole bunch of stuff. This is something that once you make it, you can use it as a meal. It's not just a snack, it's not a treat or anything like that. It's a full-on meal. And the other thing, as you can see, is to save a little bit of time, I actually went and kind of ground everything up, but I'll explain everything to you as I go along. And so the first thing that you're going to need is obviously a nice big bowl, because we're going to mix everything into this bowl. So the first thing that I like to add is normally I do vegetables. So what I do is I use my Ninja blender. And what I did is I took 3 carrots, I took an entire summer squash, I did some broccoli, some cauliflower, and then I also did about a half a cup of kale. I put it all into my blender, I blended it up, I made it into kind of a puree. As you can see, it's real loose, it's still got some good water in there. So we're going to dump that right into the bowl. So the other thing too is I got right here, this is a pound of meat. This is just some ground up beef. Since this is Bobo's favorite, is the beef. And as I'm putting in a layer, I put in the vegetables. So I'm just going to cut up a little, and I'm going to throw it in there. I like to throw a little bit on top of each layer. It just mixes a little easier with the meat. So we're going to throw a little in there. And then, so then the next thing is I took, I had 3 large yams. So again, with the vegetables, I did about 9 cups in my blender. So you basically, if you have a standard Ninja blender, it holds 9 cups. So I did 9 cups of veggies, and I had 3 large yams. I did the yams the same way, or sweet potatoes. Same thing, not 9 cups, ground it right up so as you can see how fine it is. We get some heads here all waiting. And so I'm going to throw that in. Then again, I'm going to put a little layer of meat. So now the next thing that I did is fruit. So what I did is with the fruit, I did about 5 cups. When you load it into the Ninja blender, I brought it up to 5 cups. Then you grind it down, so then it turns into 2 or 3 cups. So what I used is a handful of 2 handfuls of strawberries. I used blueberry, and then a mix of blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. So we're going to pour that right in as well. Now I'm going to take the rest of my meat. Again, just kind of, cut it up and spread it around. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is I have a can of pink salmon. We're going to use the salmon, get the salmon in there, cut that, mix that all up. So the salmon is good for the omega-3. So now the next step, I'm going to herbs. I use a bunch of herbs and spices. Again, there's so many benefits to herbs and spices that you don't find typically in dog food and stuff like that. For me, I use it for all different types of reasons, obviously the nutritional value. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw I got some hemp seeds. I'm going to coat the top with some hemp seed. This is another good source of protein. When you're making your dog food, you want multiple sources of protein, plus the fiber and everything. The next thing I'm going to add is I've got a bunch of eggshells. So I'm going to put the eggshells in. Again, when you're doing the eggshells, you want them ground up nice and fine. I use a pestle mortar. I'm going to put a good amount in there. I'm going to put a little splash of white pepper. This is for Bobo, mainly because white pepper is really good for dogs that have any neurological issues. So I'm going to throw that in there. And go a little turmeric. Put some of that in there. Try not to do a whole lot. Some dogs are not used to it. Plus, if they're not used to it, then you want to kind of get them used to it. Put a little in at a time, and then you can amp it up a little bit. So I get some ground ginger. So I get a little cinnamon now. Again, if you get a dog that has neurological issues, cinnamon is really good for the mind. So we're going to put some cinnamon in here. Plus, who doesn't like cinnamon? And so lastly, the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some Italian seasoning. Now, I'm using what is called Italian seasoning. It's McCormick's Perfect Pinch. If you're going to buy it in the store, this is the one you want to buy. I forget who it was, but I want to thank you. Somebody did put in one of my comments that they looked on their Italian seasoning. It had onion powder. Onions are extremely bad for your dog, so you don't want to use it. So if you're going to be buying a store-bought Italian seasoning, make sure it doesn't have onion powder in it, because that is poisonous to your dog. This mix here is actually a mix that I use, or that I've put together from all the herbs and spices in my garden. So, it's your basic Italian seasoning. It's got basil, and this has got basil and thyme and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'm going to put in that. And the other thing too is if you can, And if you're going to be using a parsley, make sure you use a curly parsley, not an Italian parsley, because Italian parsley isn't good for dogs, but a curly parsley is. So now what we're going to do is we've got this all in our bowl, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to mix this all up. Okay, so as you can see, I have this all mixed up nice. Everything all mixed up really good. And so our next step is going to be, you're going to want a little pan. You can do whatever size you want. This is just a little one. And what we're going to do is we're going to fill this pan up. Okay, so I filled the pan up, and as you can see, I got it nice and full. And that's going to be our birthday cake. Now, as you can see, I also have a good portion of my bowl and food left over. So what you can do with that is, if you want to keep it raw, there you go. You get yourself, a raw diet. You just scoop out whatever you need for your dog. Or if you want to, you can go ahead and do a kind of a semi-dehydrated, which is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some cookie trays. I'm going to lay out a cookie tray. I'm going to lay the bottom out with parchment paper. Try to use parchment paper. It's best. And I'm going to lay that out. So I'm going to do a couple trays probably with the amount that I have left over. So then our next step is we're going to take and I'm going to put the cake in. I'm going to put the trays into my oven. I'm going to set my oven to about 180 degrees. I think my oven actually does 185 degrees, whatever your oven comes to, somewhere around there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to let that kind of cook or dehydrate kind of. It's kind of a half and half. You're not going to fully dehydrate it. So we're going to do that and let it run for about 3 hours. So that's the next step, and I'll see you guys when this is finished. Okay, so for the next step, you can't have a cake without frosting. What's the sense of eating cake? In my opinion. I'm sure frosting is the favorite part of all of us. And so what I did is I have roughly a half cup of Greek yogurt. I use a plain Greek yogurt. That's what's best. Make sure you're trying to use something like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add roughly a half a cup of peanut butter. And get that in there. Then what we're going to do is we're going to stir this up. Mix it up really nice. And so I still got my cake cooking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up really nice. And then what I'm going to do is throw this in the fridge. Let it sit in there for a little while. And then wait until the cake is ready. So we're just going to mix this in. So what we want is a nice smooth consistency, obviously. So get this part done while you're waiting for your cake to be done. And I will be back to show you the next step. Okay, so welcome back. I think the cake's done enough. If it was my choice and I had the time, I probably would go a little bit longer. It's still, I can still see it's a little soft, so I'm gonna keep it in the pan. I've got 5 dogs I need to feed, so I'm kind of on a time thing. But like I said, I probably would go a little bit longer. I was at about 3 hours, 3.5 hours when I pulled this out. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put the frosting. I took the frosting out out of the fridge. It's been sitting for a little while. It should be at room temperature. I'm going to now apply the frosting, and then we're going to go ahead and feed these dogs. So show you how this is done. We're just going to take the frosting, pop it on the top, and again, it's just, just go around and frost the top. You don't have to be neat. They're not going to complain. I probably should have made this a little softer, but that's okay. Like I said, these guys are not complainers. So I'm just gonna smear that frosting on the top. Okay, so there we go. We got ourselves a nice, beautiful birthday cake. I'm just gonna cut pieces out for each dog because I get different sized dogs here. Like I said, this is a full meal, so or good enough for a meal. So again, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I hope you all learned a little something. I hope you all get to enjoy many, many birthdays with your dog as well as mine. This is my 18th birthday with Bobo that I'm very proud of. And so I'm going to go ahead and serve these dogs and get them so that they can eat. Have a good day.